I am beyond excited tonight to be interviewing my sister, Renee Cermak, author of How to Be Your Biggest Fan. And this is, I'm really excited. I don't know if you can tell. This book was a long time coming. I was just sharing with people on a call previously. Renee, I remember you talking about this idea for this book when we were on the cruise in the Mediterranean.
Really?
I think so. And that was, I don't know, a lot of years ago.
That was many years ago.
It was many years ago. And you had just kind of switched paths and were trying to figure some things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of writing this book was part of that conversation. So can you tell everybody else a little bit about yourself and about your background?
Yes, I can. For the last 20 years, I've been a consultant for PSI seminars. So I've been putting together personal growth seminars. I also facilitate the seminars. And where I've gotten a lot of my experience, especially regarding self-esteem, is in a 90-day game where 20 people come together, they form a team, they set really big goals, and then they have 90 days, and with support and accountability, they get their goals done. So I've been working with teams of people for the last 20 years, as well as individuals, on becoming bigger than their limiting beliefs and becoming goal achievers versus goal setters.
Got it. So what made you write this book?
Well, I have learned so much in the last 20 years regarding self-esteem and people, and really applying all of this to myself, that I'm compelled to share what I learned about self-esteem with other people, because it's not rocket science. It's pretty simple. And it is the number one most important thing for every result that you are going to produce in the future. And for most people, self-esteem is like, a concept that they don't even think about very often. And they have no idea that it is the number one driver of every result that they have. And so from what I've learned over the last 20 years, I just, it happened bit by bit of like developing different pieces of the book. I mean, there's so many different things in the book, and they all kind of happened and came about from different people, different situations, different experiences. And it just all kind of came together in a book. However, it started with, I remember the moment when it started, when a woman asked me, Renee, with all of this personal growth that you have witnessed, that you have done yourself and that you have witnessed with other people, do you really think that people change? And I remember this moment because I remember my response. No one had ever asked me that question before. And my response was immediate. And it was, I don't know if people change. What I do know is that their self-esteem changes. And when their self-esteem changes, everything about who they are, what they eat, what they wear, who they surround themselves with, the money they make, all of that changes. And I was really fascinated by my own answer, because those words had never come out of my mouth before. And that's when I really started looking at just the whole concept of self-esteem. And I really believe that that's kind of the moment the book was born, even though that was probably 8 years ago.
What? And so what's happened between then and now?
Well, things. I definitely do not recommend writing a book the way that I wrote a book. There was a lot of avoidance. There was a certain amount of suffering, because even with all of the personal growth that I've done and becoming bigger than my limiting beliefs, they still have a way of stopping me in my tracks every once in a while, especially, when I'm doing something that I've never done before, and, that I view as really big. And definitely publishing a book fell in that category.
Well, it's interesting what you said about self-esteem, because have you ever noticed, I think this is a good example, right? Have you ever noticed, like a lot of us are in the get healthy business, right? Get healthy coaching business. Have you ever noticed when you start a new regimen, like maybe your goal is to whatever, let's say your goal is to lose weight, and the first day of it, you've gotten committed, you're on your program, you haven't lost any weight yet, right? But you're holding yourself prouder, you're standing taller, you're in a good mood because you've just done something pretty significant for your self-esteem, even though the results aren't showing yet, right? I know that's how it is for me. When I'm in control and I've gotten committed and I'm taking those steps that I know are going to make me feel better, I'm already better, right?
Yeah, just being in action, there's something that happens. You're setting up an expectation, for more days. And even if you only have, if you haven't worked out for 5 years and you start working out, because the book is about doing the small stuff, the daily things. So you start with 1 day and then you get to 2 days and then you get to 3 and 4 and you're on day 5 and you don't have the results. And yet there is power in those 5 days because it allows you to get to 6, which allows you to get to 7. I mean, the beginning baby steps give you a shot for the end goal. Whereas if you don't get up and get those first 5 days under your belt, even though you can say, this isn't working, this is futile, I should be spending my time doing something else, those first baby steps give you a shot of achieving the goal. And every day that you get under your belt gives you more power, more self-esteem, more confidence. It's like you get to 30 days of working out at the gym, you feel pretty good. When you get to 1 year of consistently working out, it's even more powerful. When you have 5 years under your belt of working out consistently, it just builds and builds and builds. And the I am statements that go along with it are what's powerful too, because you start out the first couple of days of, I go to the gym sporadically. However, 5 years under your belt, you now have a solid I am program called I value my body, I value exercise, and how do you know? Based on my results.
So how do you think this book, how do you think this book is different from other personal growth books?
I think that a lot of other personal growth books speak in concepts, and I definitely have a lot of concepts in my book, yet I think my book does a good job of taking it from a concept and bringing it down to the how can I apply this today. Like, these things in my book are immediate. It's my hope that by the time that somebody finishes reading the book, that they've already taken several action steps in the realm of small things that they want to start forming and building into a habit. So I think it's motivating to get you to get up and take action versus just read about it.
I agree. I actually agree 100%. Don't sit down with that book without a pen in your hand, because there's going to be some blanks to fill in, right? And you're going to, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, it's an interactive workbook, and there's a workbook within the book, and I highly recommend that you take the time as you go along and fill it out, even though that's hard to do. When you go along, it's like, yeah, I'll fill that out later. Let me keep reading to get some more good things. However, if you fill in that book as you go along, at the end of it, you're going to have a really clear idea of what could the areas to start in regarding self-esteem to really support you. And, I have an upcoming project called the 1,000 Boxes, which is about, doing 1,000 small things in order to achieve a goal or have higher self-esteem or to create healthier habits. And if you fill out the pages in the book, by the time you're done, you'll have a very clear plan for your 1,000 boxes.
Well, so what can one of your readers hope to gain from reading this book? I think we've touched on that a little bit, but what do you think?
Well, what I want them to leave in the book realizing that their self-esteem is 100% in their control, and them realizing how valuable this is, that this is the number one place to invest time and money, as it is the number one driver for every result in your future, and you're not able to detach from your self-esteem, so you might as well invest in it, because everywhere you go, there it will be. The other reason is like, let me say it like this. We all are going to judge ourselves, and rather harshly, for the rest of our life. And so if we're going to be with this critic, with this judge, I want people to be able to give their critic and their judge somebody to like, somebody to respect, somebody to be proud of, so that their relationship with themselves is, you know, a loving relationship. I'm going to live with myself for the rest of my life. So the better I treat myself, the better I talk to myself, the more I give myself somebody to really, when I look in the mirror, that looks back with full eye contact and in a very positive way. Like, all of that matters. And so I want to give people the opportunity to have a different relationship with themselves, and they'll walk away with this book with clear things that they can do on a daily basis, and not just 1 or 2 or 3, like maybe 50 things that they could, you know, start putting into play right now, in order to, number one, have a better relationship with themselves. And then, of course, when you have the best relationship with yourself and you're bringing the biggest, best version of you to the party, then everybody else wins. And so, you know, a lot of people, especially parents, you know, think that it's very, you know, the way to go, or it's very generous to put their kids first, or even to put their spouse first. And what they don't understand is that if they're putting their kids or their spouse number one, that their kids and spouse are not getting the biggest, best version of them. You know, it's like you see parents that are like, listen, children, you go out and be fabulous. I'll stay here and do the laundry. You know, and that doesn't work, you know. So for you to go and lead by example, to create your extraordinary life, your spouse and your kids and your community and your friends, everybody is going to win. Whereas if you put them first, they're not going to get the best version of you.
So I don't want to, not spoiler alert, but can you just for fun, can you tell us a little bit about She-Ra and Sally?
Naming
Maximilian, huh?
Naming my programs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so a gentleman in one of my seminars, he said, Renee, what do you do when that loud voice comes up, you know, telling you that you're not enough and you're not this and you're not that? And I said, this may sound crazy. However, I would name that belief. And not only name it, you give it wardrobe and dialogue. And again, this sounds a little bit crazy. However, you can have fun with your limiting beliefs. You can even get a little distance from your limiting beliefs, knowing that you know, your limiting beliefs are actually on your side. You created them at some point in order to survive. And the great news is that you survived. However, you might not need those limiting beliefs anymore, because you know, you form them as a form of protection and keeping you safe. And so one of my biggest limiting beliefs is my Frugal Sally program. So my husband, you know, who is an abundant consumer, always supporting the economy. He's on one end of the spectrum, and then I'm on the other end of the spectrum, you know, kind of with my frugal programs. Now, because of all the personal growth that I've done, I've come a long way with my frugal programs. However, or beliefs, I'll call them beliefs, Frugal Sally still exists. However, I've minimized her so that she's only like this big, where she used to be gigantic and she used to run the show all the time. And the truth is, I like Sally. I have a lot of money because of Sally. She helps me save money and invest money. And so I don't want to get rid of her. But what I do is I put her in the corner with my net worth spreadsheets so that she can continue to do her work, yet her frugalness doesn't come and interrupt my life. Now, every once in a while, I'll be out shopping. You know, like, I don't want to take Sally shopping with me because I don't end up with clothes that are worthy of me when she comes. However, every once in a while, I'll be shopping and I'll find myself in the sales section realize, and I'll wake up and go, oh my God, Sally, how did Sally sneak in? You know, or I'll nitpick at my husband for some purchase that he made, and I'll realize that that limiting belief, you know, kind of snuck in. And so I talk to my limiting beliefs. I give them names. I give them wardrobe. I give them dialogue. I mean, you can imagine Sally, she's in a pencil skirt. She's got a bun. She's got her clipboard. She's still looking good, you know, however, she is like analyst material, and we want her doing her good research and, you know, analyzing when it comes to money and good things.
Just
So
don't
if you
want her
have
along when
limiting beliefs, just read.
don't want her
What's
along
that?
when you're buying jewelry, right?
No, I don't want her along when I'm attempting to buy anything nice. However, when I am planning my yearly houseboat trip that involves 35 people and $20,000 in groceries and all of that, I want Sally out with her clipboard and spreadsheets running the whole thing.
Got
She
it.
does a good job.
So I think that, well, I have a couple other questions, but this one is a big one, so I don't want to run out of time before I ask it. For me, I believe that this book is really important for anybody who is in network marketing. And I don't know if you agree with that or not, but if you had to guess, why do you think that this book would be helpful for people who are network marketers?
Well, in general, I'm a huge proponent of all personal growth for network marketers, because I love how Bob Proctor describes network marketing as the most fair form of compensation, because you don't do the work, you don't get paid. And in order to be successful, you have to be bigger than all of those limiting beliefs that are screaming for you to do something else, or for you to put it off till later, for you to call somebody else, or for you to be successful in network marketing, right? It takes a lot of self-esteem and self-confidence to open up your mouth in places that it would be easier to keep your mouth shut. And to promote, you know, it takes a lot of self-esteem to promote yourself and promote your business, you know, to be loud and proud about who you are and what you're doing. And so everything about this book, in my opinion, supports network marketers in daily action steps that they can use to build their self-esteem, and to realize that this is a place to invest, that the results are being driven by their level of self-esteem. There's a lot of noise.
I got it.
Okay.
Just took me a minute to find it. Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right.
I was finished.
Well, hold on.
Well, there's a pause in here. I just love that you brought that up, Renee, because after all this time in network marketing, and the fact that I'm a big proponent for personal growth, I just love that was brought up, because I think the two need to go together so well. So I'm just thrilled that you wrote this book so that we can all take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, one of my favorite subjects is enrollment, getting good at enrollment. And with PSI seminars, we define that as getting somebody to do what you want them to do for their reasons. And everything I do in the 90-day game that I coach is about teaching people enrollment skills, so that if they don't like what's happening, if they can open their mouth and create a different result happening by getting somebody to do what they want them to do for their reasons. And so you'll see in this book that, you know, the skill of enrollment is scattered all the way through, you know, and everything about network marketing is enrollment, and it first starts with enrolling yourself. You know, you don't have a shot of enrolling anybody else until you are enrolled. And so this book supports you in enrolling yourself on a daily basis to get up and do, you know, what you got to do to be successful. And again, to know that it's all in your hands.
Renee, give me 1 second. I'm going to mute everybody, and then you can unmute yourself. Hold on. Okay, now, there you go. All right, that's better. I couldn't do it from the menu any other way.
Still not showing that Jill is muted. So Jill, if you can hear and you can mute, just because I just want to make sure that we all get her attention.
Okay, so yeah, I think that how can you have an effective enrollment conversation if you're not coming from a place of strength and power and certainty? You know, the more self-esteem you have, the more confident you are, the more you're going to be successful enrolling other people. And you're not going to be as intimidated by and shut down by, you know, those limiting beliefs about, you know, oh, who am I to tell this athlete that they should be using amped products? I've never used, I'm not an athlete. I'm not who am I to be saying these things to these people, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just the, you know, having, you know, there's nothing better to be able to tell limiting beliefs where to go stuff it than results. And the results in one area of your life translate to other areas, meaning if you can count on yourself to go to the gym consistently for a year, right, that's a result. Then calling this person and asking for X, Y, and Z is no longer such a big deal. So when you have health results under your belt, you can go create money results. When you have money results under your belt, you can go create relationship results. Am I making sense? So results in general, your confidence goes up and you're better able to go make those phone calls when you need to make them, and you're able to produce the result when you need to produce it, like when your rank advancement is on the line, or when your bonus is on the line, or when your people's, you know, important things are on the line. So when you can produce a result when you need to in isogenics, you know, you can go turn around and produce a result than you need to in some other business opportunity, because it requires, you know, the same skills to be able to do it. And that's why when you increase your self-esteem and self-confidence, every result, it directly relates to everything that you do. I mean, everything. And most people, you know, realize that, you know, there's a certain amount of giving that they want to start doing, making a difference, contribution. And, you know, the higher self-esteem you have, the more contribution and a difference that you're going to make. Because with lower self-esteem, it's all about you and your immediate needs and gratification. And then at some point you pick your head up and you go, there's other people on this earth to make a difference. And that's where, you know, there's so much self-esteem that comes from making a difference, especially when it's anonymous and, you know, nobody knows that you're doing it.
Renee, one of the concepts in the books that I really struggled with was there's a concept in the book about getting selfish and being selfish and how that's actually a good thing. And so could you tell us a little bit about that? Because you know that I actually, it took me a while to get my head around that, honestly.
I'm not sure that you still have your head around it yet, because it does come up quite often. So you must think about it pretty often. And I do too, actually, because you have, like, when you get on the airplane, you know, the flight attendant has to tell you that if you're with a child, that you have to put your mask on first before you can, you know, put your child's mask on. And that's true for all things in life. So when you get selfish about your self-esteem, right, and go take the vacation that you need to take, and you go sign up for the yoga class that you want to do, and you go hang out with your girlfriends, and you create time for happy hour, or you're a guy and you start your weekly poker game that you've always wanted to do, even though it might annoy your wife, like, that's being selfish about your self-esteem, honoring the things that light you up, so that then you're lit up, and then everyone else around you gets the benefit of your light. Whereas if you continually to not give to yourself, to not take that trip, and instead, you know, work, or instead, you know, think that you're not able to be away from your kids for a weekend, like, you got to take the time and go fill you up. And that's the part that's being selfish. And yet, when you're selfish about your self-esteem, everybody else gets the benefit.
So there. So we're at time. And so I want to honor our time. I told Renee it was going to be 30 minutes, and I think we're running right up against that mark. We have time for 2 questions. If anybody wants to ask the author a question about something they've already read or something they've heard or something that doesn't really make sense to them, I'm going to open it out to just unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. If you're not used to doing this, it's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, the little microphone that has the little green stuff going up and down in it. Now's your chance. You've got the author on the phone. Or on the screen.
I see you looking at me, Denny. I see you.
He's thinking about it.
All right, I'll ask a question.
Aha, you picked out Denny.
So first I gotta say, this is the first time I've met you and the other 2 Cermak sisters that I've grown to love and hate, all in the probably same conversation. So so while I was sitting here watching this, I went and ordered your book off of Amazon because I'm sure it's going to be that great. So I'll definitely I told Robin earlier, I have a whole desk full of books I'm trying to get to read, but I'll have to move yours to the top.
Yes. 5. Oh, wow.
So here's the question. So, we talked a little bit about isogenics, and I think everybody on here believes that we own the best health and wellness product on the market, right? So, talking about self-esteem, like what makes you think your book is the cream of the crop, right? How can I take that book and reach anyone that has a self-esteem issue, or maybe doesn't even realize that self-esteem is holding them back from growing their business, growing in life in general?
So what's the question?
So and you touched a little bit on, Dawn asked you, like, what's different about your book, and you talked about, a lot of books having certain principles and stuff in them, and yours has that too. But obviously you spent a lot of time and energy and effort on something that you have passion with. So if you're going to market this book, and I want to market it for you too, like what is the one thing that makes your book different from the rest?
Well, I will mention that I have a self-esteem quiz in chapter 1 where you get to get a starting point on where your self-esteem is, so that as you're reading through the whole book, you're already clear about the areas from first chapter. You're already clear about where you can start applying all of this small stuff. And
Sure.
Again, it's very interactive, and there are stories, there are exercises for you to do. And I believe that for you to be successful, there's many angles that you want to hit your self-esteem. For your isogenics business to be successful, I believe that this book would be, one of 10 or 20 things that you would do. I don't think this book is the end all be all for anybody. I believe that personal growth, self-esteem is a lifestyle, and one that you have to, what I love about this book is it hits self-esteem from like 98 different angles, like every angle, because one angle one person relates to and another person doesn't. And then I come in from this other angle about look at it from this way. And so by the end of it, you're kind of hit from so many different angles that it all becomes pretty obvious. I don't know if that's a good word.
No, I like it. Thanks. Appreciate that.
I think what also happens as you read the book is that while it's, there's a lot, and it is a lot of different angles, you start to notice that the same things keep coming up as you do the workbook, as you do the exercises, the same things keep coming up.
For you. Yes.
For you. As you look at this relationship, you look at this relationship, you look at this result, you look at this result, what could be different? Name 5 things that you could, as you do the workbook, as you do the exercises, the same things keep coming up. And so it really helps you zero in, and you start to see, wow, this one thing or these three things are really impacting my results. They're impacting my relationships. They're impacting how I feel about myself. And as a result, how others interact with me. So, and then there are encouragements, if you will, about how to take action to start making those small changes and create new habits so that you change those things. And as a result, you change your results, right?
I just made a very interesting connection, which, I mean, if anybody that's already read it, maybe you already have, but Denny, what you said just made me think about how we talk about, you might see somebody or know somebody that you're like, oh my gosh, they so use isogenics. But if that person is not open to having that conversation, it's really kind of hard. You're not going to go up to them and be like, hey, this is what's wrong with you and this is why you need it. And Renee, I'm seeing that it would I feel like this is a little bit what you were asking, Denny, but it's got me thinking about it. You might know, I mean, everybody could use to read the book. I'm completely clear on that. But for people that might not realize that there's something there that they need to work on, how to approach it. Like, hey, but for me, it's going to be easy because I'm going to be like, I'm reading this book. It's really fantastic. I love personal growth and this is what I'm getting from it, even though, but for somebody else, I can see how it might be a little bit harder. Hey, I really think your self-esteem sucks. So I think you should read this book. Like it might not go so well.
That's in the book, Genevieve.
Is it really?
That's kind of in a way of, there's certain areas in your life where your way is not working, and let's not even sugarcoat it that your way sucks. And there's been people that have been attempting to tell you how your way is not working. And, some of the ways they do that is like in the form of a book. Hey, have you read this book on parenting or procrastination or something like that? So yeah, that's a really great idea, is that you let somebody borrow your book and then a week later you come back to talk about isogenics.
Is that why somebody just recommended a cookbook to me recently?
Exactly, Robin. Exactly. Now you're catching on.
It was Denny who did. I'm just kidding.
I know we are a little over time. I don't know if you can help me answer this question, Renee. The only time, except when I was on my cruise last year, that I have read a book other than I only read at bedtime. So what you were saying or Dawn was saying about I read another book recently that was a little bit like you were supposed to do stuff. And I was completely the person that was like, I'm going to have to do this when I'm not in my whatever state of mind. But I guess I'm just going to have to prioritize it. I'm answering my own question, figuring out when to do that, because I don't really know if before bed, which is my favorite time to read, it's like my relaxing whatever time. But I also want to be able to get the most out of this book. So I guess I'm just going to have to find some.
You could do your reading at night and then let it sleep on it, and then immediately fill in your spaces in the morning.
In the morning. Mm-hmm. Oh, I can incorporate that into my morning stuff that I do. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think one thing I heard, another version of this, or another way to think about it, or another way to look at it is, how can you expect people to respect you if you don't respect yourself? Right? Mm-hmm. It's that. How can you expect people to value you if you don't value yourself? And if that's the case, then how then is it possible at all that this isn't absolutely the most important thing that you could possibly work on? In closing. Well, thank you, Renee, for giving us your time. The people on the call who haven't read the book yet, I'm sure, are really excited to read it. I've, as you know, bought it for a lot of people and shared it with a lot of people and have been talking about it nonstop. And I'm really proud to be your sister, the sister of the author. And for those of you that don't know, Robin and Renee.
I'm proud too.
There she is. Robin and Renee are twins.
Here I am.
These two are twins. So hard to believe. Yeah, well, You don't look as much alike as some twins do.
Mhm.
There you go. So thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time. What's that?
Thank you. I just saying thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
And we're going to call it a wrap. Thanks, Renee.
Bye.
Oh, no, wait, everybody, wait. So there's 2 bonus offers. And Renee, can you tell them really quick what they were? Because I never loaded anybody into that. Can you tell them how they can get them? Because I never went back and put in, like all the people I gifted the book to, I didn't fill it in with their order number or their email.
Yes. So if you go to my book landing page is howtobeyourbiggestfan.com. And there are 2 bonuses offered when you purchase the book. And if you already purchased the book, that's okay, because it asks you for your Amazon book number. And the truth is you can enter any number you want there and you'll get access. So the first bonus is a 1-hour webinar that I'm doing next Wednesday evening, May 16th. And it's 1 hour on the 7 fastest, easiest, most powerful ways to start increasing your self-esteem today. And then the second bonus is from Bob Proctor, and it's called the Success Puzzle. So it's a whole wealth building program, success building program from Bob Proctor. So when you go to that book landing page, you put your name and your book number in, and then you'll get sent an email that gives you a link to get those bonuses.
Awesome. Now we're done. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Renee.
You got it.
Night.
Good night.